The time is 11:03, and you're tuned into the mid-morning talk with me, Fazila Isaac, on Salam Media. Now, on the line with us now, we have Miss Viola Manuel. Viola is the country director of MOT. She's also an accomplished senior executive in both strategy and implementation. She sat on quite a few boards as well. She specializes in adult education, and she's also an assessor with qualifications from Services CETA and TETA as well. So, quite a resume. Welcome to the show, Viola.
Thank you, Fazila, and thank you to all your listeners. It's fantastic to be hosted on your platform, and I'm very excited about the conversation we're about to engage in because I think it's such a relevant conversation and something we have to have more conversations about.
Absolutely. I went through the portfolio of Mott, and they are quite impressive, in dealing with the matters that are key, because you guys specialize in speaking to youth or dealing with the youth. And we know that people say, yeah, the youth are the future, but they don't understand the reality of that. So tell us about the history of Mott. Let's start there.
Okay, so first of all, mut, that's how we pronounce it. It's
Mott. All
actually
right.
mut. It's actually a Norwegian word because mut started out in Norway, and the word means courage. So now you know you have one word, one Norwegian word in your vocabulary, and what mut means is courage. And it was actually started by an Olympian named Atle Varvik, and he was a Winter Olympian, and he had won the gold medal and use some of that enthusiasm and energy and passion to set up Mut. But where Mut really started in terms of his thinking was his dad was a warden and had brought somebody who had just been released from prison to their home over the sort of December period, the festive period. And he then started having a conversation with this gentleman about, how did you get here? How did what decisions did you take and what turns did your life take to actually get you into prison? And the conversation actually inspired him. And, he's thinking around, just having been, wanting to also be an athlete and wanting to be a winner. And he started thinking about, what does winning mean? Winning means that you can win over yourself and over circumstances, and that you can actually really take things much further when you have that winning attitude. And that's when Atle actually started talking about this concept called Mut, this concept of courage. And so Mut focuses on three values. We speak about the courage to care. And when we speak about that, Fazila, what we mean there is how do you actually practice this value that says, I care beyond just myself and my immediate family. And it could be something as simple as when I see somebody walking in the street, do I care enough to acknowledge them as a person by just greeting them? Just being able to greet them, look them in the eye, say, good afternoon, good morning. And our youth have lost that ability to show that simple message of caring. And then we talk about the courage to live, and there we talk about leadership and how do you present yourself as a leader? How do you lead others? If you can't lead yourself, how do you lead others? And then we talk finally of the final value we talk about is the courage to say no. And here, Fazila, it's not about, we don't tell the youth, don't do this and don't do that. We speak more about what vision do you have of yourself in the future? And then can you build a very strong boundary around that vision so that you become more, I want to almost say more picky about the things that you allow into that vision. So the negative things about life, you are going to look at it and see how does it actually size up to the vision I have for myself. So Fazil, it's more about not focusing on the no, but focusing on when you say no, what are you saying yes to? So if I can give an example, when I say no to a party before my final exam, what I'm saying yes to is good grades and a better future. So that's really where mood comes from, and those are the three values that we talk about so passionately because we've seen it work. And we've also found that it's not just relevant to youth, it's also relevant to adults who are going through transition. And so it's a very exciting program.
It actually sounds quite exciting, you know. It's so different to what you'd usually hear from people who are dealing with the youth, you know. It was quite interesting hearing your insights into the yes and the no. I've never thought about it that way. You know, you are only. I think people express the negative while just saying no. They express that
Yes,
so much that they
yes.
don't realize that that no actually brings about a positive, you know, in
So,
terms like the example that you've given. One of the things that I saw on the site as well is mood strengthens youth's robustness and mastery of life. So
yes.
it's not something easy to obtain, but how does the organization try to maintain this objective?
So it's actually very exciting because the mood concept, where those values fit in and where the mood principles fit in. So some of the mood principles that we teach our kids are, being proactive. So taking control of your life, taking charge of your life, being proactive around the decisions you take. If a decision needs to be made, make the decision. Another principle that we talk about is seeing the whole person. How do I, when I'm engaging with somebody, offering leadership to somebody, caring for somebody, I can only do that when I look beyond what I immediately see. I start looking at this whole person. Why is that person here? What has caused this person to make some of the decisions they've made? How do they reason? So when you do that, when you start having those conversations, you get to see that whole person. You get to be proactive in your engagement with that person. And so building that level of resilience and building that level of robustness and that mental stability and strength is such an important component of what mood does. And I also want to say that, it's not just something that we feel good about or something that's anecdotal. We walk out of a classroom and we say, wow, we've worked with those, with that school, and we feel good about it. We've actually done the research, and UWC, the Institute of Post School Studies, focused on doing some work for us at some of the colleges, the TVET colleges that we work in. And there's three things that have become abundantly clear. When a kid or when a young person does mood, there's three things that is evident. Number one, there's a higher level of retention of that group, the group that we studied. There was a higher level of retention. And what that means is those kids wanted to see it through. They wanted to stay at college. They made every effort to stay at college because something about this mood program told them being part of this college and finishing my education is important. The second thing we discovered was that with the mood group, more of them were passing. So there was more effort put into what they had undertaken as their studies. And then the third thing very quickly was that we had a greater quality of pass. So in other words, not just were the kids staying in school, not only were they were passing with better results. And what that says to us is that impact of this wood program, having worked with those young people at those colleges, was really seeing fruitful results. And the kind of results, retention in college is a huge concern for at the leadership of colleges and universities, because kids just circumstances just kick them off the program. But if they're
Mm.
working in a program where we are focusing on giving them that mental stability and that resilience, they are willing to face those challenges a lot better and a lot more head on, I would say.
I think you know, when you do speak about them going into you know, colleges and stuff like that, there's so much that holds them back, you know, so many of these challenges that are identified, you know, but a lot of the time nothing is done because of you know, to help these kids with this. So I want to go into you know, the activities that Moot would engage in, but before that, um what is I know it comes from you know, this Norwegian area and stuff like that, but what was the actual inspiration behind starting this specific organization?
Okay, so Mut has been in Norway, in Europe for 25 years. It's been in South Africa for 15 years. Next year we celebrate our 15th year. But the motivation, of course, is that a lot of the concerns that we had for our young people, addiction, abuse, crime, all those socioeconomic concerns and challenges are immediately something that falls into the spotlight when you look at the MOOC program. the MOOD program immediately takes into consideration, but it's a proactive approach. So we are really trying to find the kids before they fall into the river, like Desmond Tutu said. We need to be getting hold of these kids to build that level of robustness and strength, so that when they do start facing the challenges of life, when they do start meeting up with the wrong friends, when they do have that first retrenchment letter, when things really just stack up against them, that we've given them a level of resilience that means they'll continue to carry on with life as opposed to falling into the river. So our motivation, the thing that drives myself and all of my staff to do what we do, is the understanding we have that if we can expose kids to the SMOOT program, we're actually exposing them to in a proactive way and getting them to really look at their lives and building that resilience. And then if I can, Fazila, just go on to the actual concept itself and how we do the program. So the MOOD staff don't sort of keep talking about helicoptering into schools and then doing great stuff and then we leave the school again. The MOOD program looks at it very differently. We actually identify people who are part of the school network. So if we're working with a school, we might look at educators, we might look at moms and dads, we might look at sports coaches in that community, and we'll then train those individuals to be MOOD coaches. And it's so important that we do that, because the MOOD coaches actually deliver the training to the youth in the school or the college or in the community. And it's important for us to do that, because these kids actually need to, have those role models coming from the community, talking to them about these positive messages. Number two, they need to see these values at work. And so our MOOD coaches are people who practice and understand these values. So when a kid looks at his teacher and he hears the teacher saying no, he now understands that almost clicks in their brain, having understood that my MOOD coach has explained to me this value of having the courage to say no. So when Sir says no, it's actually about protecting the boundaries that they have for themselves and what they will tolerate into the vision that they have for themselves. So it all fits in quite neatly. So the concept itself, we work with schools for 3 years. We start with the grade 8s, we then move on to the grade 9s, we then move on to the grade 10s, and in year 3, you will have 3 grades actually going through the MOOD program. So we build capacity within the colleges, within the schools, within the organizations that we work with, by actually training up coaches from within, and those coaches are the ones that actually, so they wear their MOOD t-shirts on a Monday or on a Friday, whenever they're going to do the training, and the kids see that brand and they understand that values, and it goes through there all the time.
I think that is so incredible. I can see the passion when you speak. It's not just waking up in the morning and going to work for you, right? I can
Definitely,
absolutely see that. Yeah.
definitely.
So
Working with youth, when you actually are at the cold face with them and you see what they struggle with, and you just see the bad behavior. I mean, you see the bad behavior. There's nothing pretty about some of the engagements with the youth. But when you start looking at these principles of seeing the whole person, understanding why they behave the way they do, working proactively with them, then it all falls into place and gives you a
yeah,
lot of hope,
100%.
hope
Yeah,
for the
no,
future.
no, I can actually see that. So we're gonna just take a quick short ad break, and when we come back, I'd like us to unpack some of the activities that you guys are busy with at MOOT. All right, stay tuned.
Okay, thank you.
Types, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
There's no smell that takes me back to the comfort of my childhood than the smell of black seed oil being applied by my nanny. Now I'm using Tib black seed in my own home to soothe sniffles and coughs, to help with digestion and immunity, and of course, as part of my beauty routine. After all these years, I've come to appreciate the wisdom in finding comfort and shifa in trusted treatments like Tib black seed. You can find Tib black seed at all leading pharmacies or find out more at blackseed.co.za.
South Africa, are you ready? Penny Appeal South Africa is proud to announce, for the first time in South Africa, For Good Tour featuring Saeed, Rehan Karim, Muad and friends coming to your city in November 2022.
I'm grateful for every single thing you've given me.
Cape Town, 19th of November. Johannesburg, 20th of November. Durban, 26th of November. Get your tickets via Quicket while seats are available. Proceeds in aid of Children of the World Project. Contact 031 1100 573 or email info@pennyappeal.org.za. See you there. For Good Tour, brought to you by Penny Appeal South Africa.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Albeit Lodge, your true home away from home. Albeit is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Albeit has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albeitlodge.co.za.
Tune into Salam Media via audio stream or watch live facebook.com/Salam Media.
The time is 11:19 and you're back on the Mid-Morning Talk with me, Fazila Isaac. We have joining us Viola Manuel from Mut, South Africa. So Viola, we were speaking about the organization and some of the projects that you guys have been running. So what are some of these activities that you engage in?
So yeah, exciting stuff. So when we've done the training with the kids and, sort of the implementation plan is run with the schools and the colleges and our coaches are doing their thing, we have what we call reinforcement days. So we, this year we had our Courage to Care Day, and we have one planned for next year on the 30th of June. The Courage to Care campaign will run from the 5th of June to the 30th of June. And here we actually focus on rural schools. And we give the kids an opportunity to practice and apply the values we're teaching them about the Courage to Care. And next year, our focus is going to be on rural schools, raising stationery for them. So it's amazing to see a kid in Grassy Park or in, Lotus River or in Ocean View, who have so little, contributing to somebody who has even less. So, even if they just donate a pencil, even if they just donate a writing pad, even if they just donate a pen, everybody then has the opportunity to show the courage to care for somebody else. And so with Courage to Care Day, we are going to be collecting stationery, we're going to be collecting textbooks, and we're going to be sharing it with rural schools. Now, many people don't know that rural schools are actually run by the infrastructure comes from a farm owner, for example, but that's about all that they have. So this year we focused on uniform, and next year, Lord willing, if we can focus, we will be focusing on stationery. And then we have, for the 2nd of December, I think that's the 1st December, on first Saturday in December next year, we got a Courage to Say No walk, where we're going to be walking against gender-based violence. And we're looking to have 80% of our walkers be youth and young people walking against the scourge of gender-based violence. And so we have these what we call reinforcement days, and we also have our youth leadership camp. So out of our schools that we work with, we take the top 5 to 10% of young people, and we actually put them through a leadership camp where they will become what we call young motivators. And these young motivators then spend the second half of the year just supporting the mood coaches and learning how to be good leaders. And so those things happen. But I think, Fazila, it's important for me to also just add that even when we do the mood program, the program itself is run to include everybody. So we don't have a learner's manual where the kids are busy frantically writing down notes. Almost 80% of the work done on the mood program is experiential learning and activities. And so we have an activity called, for example, called the Stepping Forward activity, where each child gets to play a character, and we give them quite detailed information about that character. And we talk about the things that that person will experience. So as a young person at Sikufly High in Grassy Park, they might find that they are the child of an ambassador, who's got every opportunity. And when we hand out each of these characters to the kids in a class, we ask them to stand with their backs to the wall, and then we talk about opportunities and how kids, based on who they are, can take advantage of those opportunities. And we call it the Stepping Forward exercise. And I promise you that exercise has such a great impact on our kids when they start realizing how the vision you have for yourself doesn't have to be outweighed by the circumstances you find yourself in, that you can actually strive to have these opportunities that are available to some of our more privileged kids. And it's great to see the penny drop, Fazila. When you sit there and you watch them doing the Step Forward exercise and you debrief this exercise and you see these children actually sitting there going, I actually can take greater advantage of opportunities, even though they're few and far between. I need to take advantage of every opportunity. So even my education at school might not be the best education. I might not have the best math teacher. I might not have the best support at home. But if every opportunity I get, I can maximize that opportunity, then I'm closer and closer to the vision I have for myself.
I love the fact that, bringing the youth into something, all of these really, really important matters, having them understand and also be activists, should I say, against things like GBV, against all of these ills, these social ills that we are currently going through. I think it's so important that this is done, you having them, engaging with them and showing them the importance of fighting against these scourges. When it comes to them, how do they react to these programs that you have?
I must tell you, there's this fallacy that exists that because, we sort of, people on the Cape Flats and people struggling socially, we have to pay our sort of black tax, and, we really, we're not charitable, and we're so focused on ourselves. And also the fact that we are I almost want to say a grant state. There's so many grants being handed out and everybody's just taking advantage of grants, that when you see how young people interact with us when they are given the opportunity to show that they care about somebody else, when we see how young people are enthused about the idea of being able to help somebody who's got even less than them, or they have the opportunity to stand up against something that's not good for our society, it is amazing to see the response of our youth, and it's encouraging to see the response of our youth. And yes, it's not 100% participation. You will always get those kids that are always going to depend on handouts and always wanting handouts. But to just give those same kids from this, the kids from these neighborhoods, the opportunity to show that they care, the opportunity to march against things like gender-based violence and to make positive contributions is something incredible. The kids love it. They love the opportunity to engage. They love the opportunity to be able to help and to see the photographs of the rural kids receiving the pencil that I donated. It's just unbelievable.
I think them seeing or being seen basically, and feeling that sense of appreciation, and people acknowledge that we can make a difference in the place that we're living in. I feel like that is something that they actually resonate with or they love when it comes to Mut,
Yeah.
having somebody actually give them the attention and the respect that they deserve and say, you know what, you are the youth and you are in a country where we are going through certain things. So how about come in? How about join us? How about engage in activities that's going to be beneficial, not just to you as a youth, but the country as a whole? I think that's kind of what brings them so much closer to you guys, no?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, I want to say again, you don't have 100% participation. You're still going to have the kids that are not going to want to give and whatever.
Of
But to
course.
have, we talk about active citizenry. And I think one of the biggest challenges to active citizenry is that kids don't actually know how to gather themselves towards it. So when you present them with an opportunity to actively participate and make a positive contribution as a citizen, and you see them taking that up, it becomes such an important, I don't know, just a motivating opportunity, motivating uh, time for us as people who work with youth. To just see that give back is something incredibly powerful for us. Yeah.
Great. So we're just gonna take another quick short ad break, and when we come back, we'll come to the entail of a brilliant interview with you. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Fazila.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Did you know a sponsored water well and borehole allows children to go back to school, empowers communities, and is a means of sadaqah jariyah? There are many villages in Africa and Afghanistan that are in need of water wells and boreholes. Sponsor a water well in Africa at 14,500 rands, or a borehole in Africa and Afghanistan at 49,500 rands. Call Africa Muslims Agency on 011-834-8685 or donate at Africa Muslims Agency. Co.za. Africa Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
Injuran Boys College is an independent boarding and day school situated on the N1 highway in Polokwane in a picture-cure and tranquil farm-style setting. We encourage intellectual and emotional development through a holistic learning environment. We follow the NCS CAPS curriculum and house boys from grade 5 to 11. We also have a boarding facilities. Injuran College is a safe haven and a home away from home. We focus on building morals, ethics, and grooming our boys to become responsible citizens. We offer the opportunity to be awarded 75% sponsorship of boarding fees as well as discounts. It is registered with the Department of Education and Omalusi accredited. Our other schools include girls' boarding school in Zaneni and a boys' school in Palawura. For more information, contact us on 082-491-4043 or 078-452-6264. Follow us on Facebook or email us on polokwane@injurancolleges.co.za.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Devastating floods in Pakistan have washed away villages, claimed the lives of more than 1,000 people, damaged nearly 1 million homes, and left over 33 million people in desperate need of help. As the catastrophe unfolds, Islamic relief is on the ground, reaching people with life-saving aid. Our team are working tirelessly to deliver food and shelter. Your support is urgently needed now to help save more lives. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
The time is 11:32, and you're on the mid-morning talk with me, Fazila Isaac, on Salam Media. Don't forget to engage with us on our social media platforms. WhatsApp 061-766-0355 on our Facebook, and you can catch our interviews live on www.salammedia.com. Now, we're still joined by Viola Manuel, the country director of MUT, speaking to us about the amazing work that the organization is doing with the youth of South Africa. Viola, we were speaking about, some of the great activities, you touched on quite a bit of amazing work, and the fact that most of the youth have come in and are receptive of the program that you guys have put forward, but not just dealing with the youth only as an organization, but you have coaches program as well. You bring in corporate organizations as well, so give us some insight into that.
Okay, so we are finding it's expected, I guess, that more and more corporates are saying to us, you know what, our staff, especially post-COVID, our staff are really struggling with their resilience. We can see it in the way that they're working, that they're just really struggling to get that mental stability and that mental strength back. And we feel that we need an intervention. We really feel that we need to sort of come in and work with us. And so we design a program, we customize a program specifically for corporates where we would actually work with your staff. And it was interesting, towards the end of last term, we worked with a corporate, and it's interesting to just hear some of the feedback from adults who have engaged in the program, saying, you know what, I've decided that I've been too hard on myself, or you know what, I can take up the challenges that are flying ahead of me. I don't have to be overwhelmed by those challenges anymore. I don't have to be overwhelmed by the situation I find myself in. I've now got the tools to actually navigate life a lot more easily, I think, is what they were basically saying. And then we also have a situation, for example, where we're doing a huge project with the Department of Corrections, with Perth inmates who are about to go on parole, and actually talking to them, taking them through this program and actually speaking to them, because one of the things we'd like to see is a decrease in the amount of reoffenders who come out of the prison system. So MUT is really working on that pilot program as well, and we're very excited about the impact that that program will have on society when we think through, just the impact that inmates reoffending has on society. So that's what we're doing with corporates, and of course, I'm sorry, Vasila, I have to say this, if there are any corporates or any decision makers sitting out there in the audience listening to the work that MUT does, we would love to participate in your organization and contribute in a meaningful way to your organization. Of course, many corporates are funding the work that MUT does because we need the money to be able to continue doing the work we do. Our model is quite an expensive model. To work with a school for 3 years and to invest in a school for 3 years does require a substantial amount of funding. But again, when we look at the impact we have in those schools, we know that that funding is justified. And possibly, I think one of the better ways to be spending money, not just sort of CSI donation money, but even some people are looking at the MUT program as an opportunity to find a pipeline for staff for their organization. So there's a lot of opportunities for synergy and partnerships with the way MUT works with corporates.
And you guys have actually partnered with some really high-profile ambassadors. Tell us a bit about this.
Okay, so our ambassadors, we absolutely love our ambassadors, and it's again just presenting positive role models. And last year, we were able to honor our ambassadors. We've got some really great ambassadors. I'm going to encourage you to look at our website. We've got the likes of JP Dumini, we've got the likes of Alana James, we've got the likes of Paul Wasty. We've got really amazing ambassadors coming from different walks of life. And towards the end of this year, we're going to be announcing a brand new ambassador who we're very excited about, somebody in the mainstream media space and in the mainstream entertainment space. But also we're looking at a ambassador who's very well versed in sport, and is going to be doing amazing stuff with the Africa Cares Tennis Challenge, which again, Moot has been identified as the charity partner for that event. So the local South African tennis champion we'll be having conversations with him about joining us as a Moot ambassador. So our ambassadors are amazing. Our ambassadors are very relevant as role models, and also come through from like really, really challenging circumstances and found their way to rise to the top. So we need to be able to have those individuals speaking to our youth about best practice on those issues.
Way to build the excitement and anticipation. Now I can't wait to see who's the new ambassador, because when I was going,
yeah, so
I went.
You need to make sure that we get as many of our listeners to sign up onto our socials. It's Moot South Africa, and we're on all the social platforms. We'd really love them to sign up so that they can, sort of towards the end of the year, also be able to root for our new ambassadors and see who they are.
Yeah, I you know what, when I went through the site here and I was looking at all of these people, the Sia Kolisi and Penny Libiani and all of them, I was like, yes, I mean, if you have, I love the fact that you guys have brought in people who are prominent figures, they're prominent, and people who will, the youth will want to look up to and will actually want to listen to, as opposed to just bringing people are not going to be impactful, because if you are dealing with somebody like the youth, it's not easy to get them interested in stuff, it's not really easy. So the fact that you are bringing people in who they would admire and look up to, I think that was an absolutely fantastic strategy. Really, really good on you for that. So the schools do join the program. How can a school join one of these Moot programs?
Okay, so one of the things I'm going to encourage anybody listening to us this morning that really wants to know more about Moot is please go onto our website. It's www.moot, spelled mot.org.za. There is an opportunity, there's a button there that will actually say if you want to be a Moot school, you can actually contact us through there. But you can also contact me via email on viola@moot.org.za. And I will respond immediately to just talk you through sort of what the requirements would be for your school to be a Moot school.
And I was just about to ask, what are some of the requirements that a school would need to join the program?
The school, with us, it's more about the attitude and the willingness to engage with Moot, because the Moot program does require a lot of engagement. So, for example, we would want to have a conversation with the principal, because, with the principal, it's not just about the principal ticking off this thing to say, yes, I want Moot at my school. The principal has to actively engage with the Moot coaches, give them the time that they need to prep their sessions. The principal needs to make sort of substitute teachers available for the coaches who are going to be spending time doing training with the kids. But here's the kicker, Fazila. All the schools that have got the Moot program in it say it is absolutely worth it when you see how Moot deals with discipline issues, how Moot deals with encouraging and creating such positive relationships between the educators and the learners. When Moot actually starts, when you start seeing that, yes, these disruptive kids who have been disrupted, all the energy and time and resources that have to be committed to trying to deal with these disruptive kids, when you have a program like Moot that is designed specifically to include these disruptive kids in a program that's going to give them the values they need to try and sort of change that behavior. When you walk into a school that is doing Moot, you feel that this is a Moot school. The ethos is different. The ambience is different. You've got kids who you don't know looking in your eyes and greeting you. Those kinds of outcomes far outweigh any kind of time commitment that needs to be given. So there is a responsibility on the school and the educators. And so when we meet with the schools, we explain that to them so that they know that upfront. But I promise you, when you speak to any of our schools where we've successfully implemented, those principals will say it is worth every single hour of preparation to deliver the MOOC program.
And you did mention that it is quite expensive. I think any organization that is running to do certain things, to assist the country as a whole, because I mean, once you sort your youth out, you have a bright future for the country. Really,
Absolutely.
really do have one. So it is quite expensive though to run things like this. How can people donate? I mean, do you guys take donations? How can people, come through and give assistance to what it is? What will it be that you guys need in order for you um to be better than you are now? Let me put it that way.
So Fazila, we'll take any help we can get. If it's a company that does catering, if it's a company that does transport, if it's a company that does printing, any company that would like to contribute to it, please contact me and we will definitely be able to tell you how to help. If it's a company that sits with the CSY budget, especially medium-sized businesses. Now, MUT is a registered NPO and NGO, so we can provide you with a Section 18A certificate. And what that means, Fazila, is whatever you donate to us, we'll be able to give you a Section 18A certificate where you can go and apply to SARS to actually get that money back for the contribution that you're making to helping our youth. So it's sort of a money out, money in. But a lot of our sponsors aren't really focused so much on the Section 18A. That's just a nice added benefit. What they really focused on is the opportunity to contribute to an organization. And for 150,000 Rand for a year, we can actually support and sponsor a school. So there might be a business person out there, businesswoman listening to this that's saying, you know what, I would love my high school to have MUT. I just see that it's a great institution of learning. I'd love for my high school to have MUT in it. I'm prepared to make the commitment of 100,000 to 150,000 Rand for the next 3 years so that the program can be done at that school. And we will gladly be in touch with you. So contact me on viola@mut.org.za. Thanks, Fazila.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today. I really, really must commend you and your team and, well, the entire organization as a whole. You guys are doing amazing work. Like I said, I went through, a lot of the things that you guys have been doing, and it is absolutely phenomenal. I think
Thank you.
we take for granted the work that is being done in order to make the country a better place, because realistically, if we're not going to get that right, we're definitely going to go downwards. There's no other way from there. So I love the fact that MUT is doing things like this and things that people should actually sit up and take note of. It's
Absolutely.
amazing, amazing work. I'm really, really grateful for you taking your time to join us today and telling us about the organization. Let's hope our listeners out there, you do get the donations that you require, the assistance you require, and the schools that want to join your program as well. Thank you so much for your time. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you, Fazila. Thank you for your time and thank you to all your listeners. God bless.
Only a pleasure. Bye. That was Viola Manuel from MUT, South Africa. Absolutely, absolutely amazing work that they are doing. You can contact them, info@mut.org.za, or you can contact Viola directly. You can call them on 021 696 6610. Like Viola mentioned, they are an NPO and an NGO as well. So, the contributions that you make, yes, we love to make contributions from the bottom of our hearts, but also remember, it's going to assist you. You're going to get this back in your tax returns as well. And it's also something that's beneficial to the youth as well. Phenomenal work. So we're just going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking to Amina Shengiwekele, who's going to be bringing us onto her journey to Islam. Stay tuned.